My child, open this immediately. Do not wait another second. Do not tell yourself you will come back when it feels easier or when you have more time. The truth you need to hear cannot be delayed anymore. Not because I am impatient, but because timing has reached a critical point where silence would no longer serve you. I am speaking now because what you do not know yet has already been affecting you, shaping your days, influencing your choices, creating patterns you cannot fully see. Love will not allow you to remain in the dark when clarity can still guard your steps. You were meant to see this before it disappears, not because someone is trying to hide something from you, but because truth is easily buried when distractions multiply and attention drifts away. This moment was pressed forward with intention because you deserve to know what is really going on beneath the surface of your life. You have sensed it for a while. A quiet awareness that things are not as simple as they appear, that there is more happening than what you can touch or measure. That sense did not come from your imagination. It came from me. It was my way of preparing you for this conversation. Stop everything and listen. Stop the habit of half-hearing while planning your next move. Stop the reflex to minimize seriousness by calling it just emotion or just a feeling. What I am about to reveal must be told right now, not later, not after you feel ready, not when conditions seem perfect. Truth does not wait for comfort. Truth arrives when it is needed most. And you are standing in such a moment right now. Do not let this moment pass. I know how quickly moments like this can be lost. A notification arrives, a thought distracts you, a voice inside whispers, "I will come back to this later." And then clarity slips away quietly, replaced by the noise of daily routines. If you wait, you may miss the understanding you have been praying for. Not because I withhold it, but because you chose not to receive it when it was offered. Stay here. Stay present. Give this moment the full weight of your attention. I am speaking urgently because truth protects you. Truth does not harm, it shields. It does not expose you to shame, it exposes you to heal. Silence, on the other hand, would leave you exposed to confusion, to repeated cycles, to unnecessary pain. I will not remain silent when speaking can spare you from that. This urgency is not fear. It is care acting quickly. It is love refusing to watch you stumble when guidance is available. You have been asking questions in your heart, even if you stopped asking them out loud. You wondered why certain things felt blocked, why progress seemed slower than your effort deserved, why clarity slipped away just when you thought you finally had it. You sensed resistance but could not name it. You felt watched over and yet unsettled at the same time. That discomfort was not meant to torment you. It was meant to lead you here, to this moment of revelation. I know you are used to messages competing for your attention, all claiming to be important, all demanding your focus. That is why I am speaking plainly now. This is not noise. This is direction. This is not manipulation. This is revelation. I am not trying to scare you into listening. I am inviting you to stay awake in a moment that truly matters. You deserve to know what is really going on because you are not weak and you are not unaware. You are perceptive even when you doubt yourself. You have felt when something was off. You noticed patterns repeating. You recognized how often you almost moved forward and then hesitated at the last moment. How often momentum faded without clear explanation. Those observations were not coincidences. They were clues your spirit picked up before your mind could understand them. They were signals being sent to you, breadcrumbs leading you to this understanding. This message is here now because truth must be spoken before confusion hardens into belief. Confusion left unattended becomes a story you tell yourself about who you are and what is possible for you. I am interrupting that process right now. I am cutting through the fog before it becomes so familiar that you mistake it for reality. I am doing this because I see the whole picture, and I want you to see enough of it to walk forward with confidence instead of hesitation. Do not assume urgency means danger is chasing you. Urgency means opportunity is moving. It means alignment is available. It means a window is open, and windows do not stay open forever simply because someone hopes they will. They remain open for those who recognize them and respond. You might feel your heart steady and tense at the same time right now. That is because truth both anchors and challenges. It grounds you in reality while asking you to release false narratives. Let it do its work. Do not rush to analyze every word before you finish hearing. Let your spirit receive first. Understanding will follow. I am telling you this now because waiting another second would not bring more clarity. It would only give doubt more room to speak, more time to build arguments against what you already know deep down. Doubt is loud when truth is postponed. But when truth is received, doubt loses its grip. It cannot compete with what is real. Stay with me in this moment. Do not hand your attention back to distraction. You are not being singled out to be burdened. You are being chosen to be informed, to be equipped, to be released from patterns that no longer serve you. Knowledge brings responsibility, yes, but it also brings peace. Uncertainty drains you because it keeps you guessing, keeps you second-guessing yourself. Truth restores you because it gives you solid ground to stand on. This is why I said open this immediately, not to rush you, but to reach you before the moment passed, before the noise returned, before your attention scattered again, not to overwhelm you, but to steady you before you move again without understanding. I am speaking because I care where you are headed, and because you deserve to know what has been shaping your path without your full awareness. Do not treat this as entertainment. Do not treat it as background sound while you scroll or multitask. Treat it as guidance meant specifically for you. Your life is not random. Your questions are not pointless. Your restlessness is not wasted energy. All of it has been leading here, to this moment of clarity. Stay with me. Do not scroll away. Do not minimize what you are feeling. Let the seriousness sharpen your focus, not your fear. You are safe to listen. You are protected by truth. And what I am about to reveal is meant to free you, not frighten you. It is meant to unlock what has felt stuck, to explain what has felt confusing. Open your heart fully now. Set aside defensiveness. Set aside hurry. Set aside the urge to look away or to brace yourself against disappointment. You asked for understanding. You asked for direction. You asked for clarity. This is the answer beginning to arrive. I said open this immediately because timing matters more than you realize. I said do not wait another second because clarity is present now, in this moment, and moments like this are rare. I said the truth must be told because silence would cost you more than listening ever could. Now listen deeply, receive what is being offered. What you are about to understand will change how you see what comes next. It will change how you interpret what you have already been through, my child. I need you to understand something that has been hidden from you. Not because it was being kept secret with malicious intent, but because you were not yet in a position to understand it fully. There is a difference between withholding truth to harm and withholding truth to protect. What I am about to reveal falls into the second category. The truth you have not been told is this: your confusion was never a sign of your failure. It was a sign of transition. What felt like being lost was actually being guided through territory you did not yet have a map for. When you could not see the path clearly, you assumed you had wandered off course. You believed that uncertainty meant you were doing something wrong, but uncertainty is often the landscape of growth. Let me explain this more clearly. There were moments when you felt blocked, when doors seemed closed, when opportunities dissolved. Just as you reached for them, you interpreted those experiences as rejection or as evidence that you were not good enough, not ready, not chosen. But those closures were not punishments. They were redirections. They were protection from paths that would have led you away from your true purpose. You could not see that at the time because you were focused on what you wanted in that moment, not on what you needed for the long term. I was seeing both. I was holding the bigger picture while you held your immediate desire. The friction you felt was not resistance against you, it was resistance for you, clearing space for something better aligned with who you are becoming. There were also times when you thought you heard me clearly, when you believed you understood what was being asked of you, and then everything changed. The clarity you thought you had seemed to evaporate. Instructions that felt certain became unclear. You wondered if you had misheard or if you had imagined the guidance altogether. That confusion was real, but it did not mean you were wrong. What you did not know is that revelation comes in layers. The first understanding you receive is rarely the complete picture. It is an invitation to begin moving, to take the first steps. But as you move, more is revealed. What seemed like confusion was actually deepening understanding. You were not losing clarity. You were gaining complexity. You were being trusted with more nuance, more responsibility, more truth. Another thing you have not been told is that some of your struggle came from trying to understand everything before acting. You wanted certainty before commitment. You wanted to see the entire staircase before taking the first step. That is not how faith works. That is not how growth unfolds. You were waiting for permission that would never come in the form you expected. You were waiting for proof before trust. But trust is what creates the conditions for proof to appear. This is why so many of your efforts felt incomplete. You were giving partial commitment while hoping for full revelation. But revelation responds to movement, not to hesitation. The more you stepped forward despite uncertainty, the more clarity arrived. The more you waited for certainty before stepping, the longer confusion remained. This was not punishment. This was process. And you were in that process longer than you expected because you kept pausing, trying to solve the mystery before entering it. There is also truth you have not been told about the voices you have been hearing. Not all guidance that feels spiritual is aligned with your highest good. There are voices that mimic my tone but carry different intentions. There are promptings that sound wise but lead you in circles. You have felt this before. The sense that something was slightly off even when the message seemed positive. Your discernment was correct. Not every voice claiming to guide you was sent by me. Some were echoes of your own fear dressed up as wisdom. Some were projections from people around you, their expectations and anxieties influencing what you believed was truth. You were not wrong to question. You were wise to question, but the questioning left you uncertain about which voice to trust, including mine. That uncertainty kept you suspended between moving forward and staying safe. It created hesitation where there should have been confidence. I want you to know now clearly, and without confusion, how to recognize when I am speaking. My voice does not create anxiety. It creates conviction. My voice does not trap you in endless analysis. It calls you toward action. My voice does not condemn you for what you have not yet become. It affirms who you already are while inviting you into more. If what you are hearing makes you feel smaller, more afraid, more stuck in self-criticism, it is not my voice. If what you are hearing empowers you to move even when you are uncertain, if it steadies you when everything else feels chaotic, if it reminds you of your worth without ignoring your growth, then you are hearing correctly. Trust that. The confusion came not from my voice being unclear, but from other voices being loud. Another hidden truth is this: the delays you experienced were not all external. Some of them came from within you, not from weakness or rebellion, but from self-protection. Parts of you learned to guard your heart because you were hurt before. Parts of you learned to hesitate because disappointment taught you to lower expectations. Those protective instincts served a purpose once, but they outlived their usefulness. What kept you safe in one season became what kept you stuck in the next. You were not consciously choosing to block your progress. You were unconsciously defending against pain. Every time opportunity appeared, an old wound whispered warnings. Every time clarity emerged, an old disappointment suggested doubt. You felt this as internal conflict, a war between wanting to move forward and needing to stay safe. That conflict was never about lacking faith in me. It was about lacking trust in your own resilience. You feared that if you moved forward and failed again, you would not survive the disappointment. So you stayed in place, convincing yourself that waiting was wisdom when it was actually fear disguised as patience. I am not condemning you for this. I am helping you see it so you can release it. You are stronger than the wounds that taught you to be cautious. You are more resilient than the failures that made you hesitant. The self-protection that helped you survive old seasons will suffocate you in this new one. It is time to lay it down, not recklessly, but consciously. Not by ignoring risk, but by trusting that you are equipped to handle what comes next. There is also something you were not told about timing. You believed that delays meant no. You interpreted waiting as rejection. But timing is more complex than permission or denial. There are seasons when the best answer is not yet. Not because what you desire is wrong, but because you are not yet ready to sustain it. Receiving something before you are prepared to steward, it creates more problems than it solves. Some of your delays were about your preparation. You needed more strength, more clarity, more grounding than you had when you first asked. If what you wanted had arrived when you first wanted it, it would have overwhelmed you. It would have exposed weaknesses you had not yet addressed. The waiting was not punishment. It was maturation. It was me loving you enough to let you grow before thrusting you into responsibility you could not yet carry. Other delays were about alignment. What you wanted was good, but it was not yet ready for you either. Situations needed to shift. People needed to move. Circumstances needed to change. You were not the only variable in the equation. Sometimes waiting had nothing to do with you at all. It had to do with 1,000 other factors lining up so that when you finally moved, the path was clear. Your impatience did not mean I was slow. It meant you could not see what I was arranging on your behalf. And some delays were about protection. There were paths you wanted to take that would have led to harm. There were opportunities you wanted to seize that would have trapped you. I closed those doors firmly, sometimes painfully, because leaving them open would have been cruelty disguised as freedom. You did not understand that at the time. You felt blocked. You felt denied. But I was shielding you from consequences you could not yet see. Now I need to tell you about the silence. There were periods when you felt abandoned, when prayers seemed unanswered, when guidance seemed absent. You interpreted silence as disinterest, or as proof that you were not important enough to receive attention. That interpretation was wrong, but it was understandable. Silence feels like absence when you do not understand its purpose. My silence was never abandonment. It was invitation. It was me stepping back so you could step forward. It was me creating space for you to discover your own voice, your own strength, your own capacity to navigate without constant external direction. If I had spoken every time you asked, you would have remained dependent on external guidance. You would never have learned to trust the wisdom already inside you. Silence taught you to listen more carefully. It taught you to discern between your voice and mine. It taught you to sit with uncertainty without collapsing into panic. Those are skills you needed, and they could only be developed in the absence of constant reassurance. The silence felt cruel because growth often does, but it was necessary, and it was temporary. Now the season of silence has ended, not because you finally earned the right to hear me again, but because the purpose of silence has been fulfilled. You have grown in the ways you needed to grow. You have learned what you needed to learn. You have developed strength you did not have before. Now it is time for clarity, for direction, for explicit guidance. That is why I am speaking now. The silence served its purpose. Now truth serves its purpose. But here is what you must understand about moving forward. Clarity does not remove responsibility. Understanding does not eliminate choice. You now know what has been happening beneath the surface of your confusion. You now see the patterns that were invisible before. You now understand the delays, the doors that closed, the voices that misled you, the silence that felt like abandonment. With this knowledge comes decision. You can continue as you were, interpreting your life through old narratives, even though you now have new information. Or you can adjust your understanding and move differently. You can release the self-blame that came from misunderstanding. You can stop waiting for permission that was already given. You can stop interpreting delays as rejection and start seeing them as preparation. The choice is yours, but the consequences are real. If you receive this truth and do nothing with it, confusion will return, not because I withdraw clarity, but because you chose comfort over transformation. If you receive this truth and act on it, everything shifts. Not because circumstances magically change, but because you move through them differently. Your perception changes, your confidence changes, your decisions change, and those changes ripple outward, creating new possibilities. I am not asking you to make drastic changes overnight. I am asking you to adjust your perspective immediately. Stop seeing your past confusion as failure. Start seeing it as part of a larger process you are now beginning to understand. Stop interpreting closed doors as rejection. Start seeing them as protection and redirection. Stop waiting for absolute certainty before you act. Start moving with the clarity you already have, trusting that more will be revealed as you go. This shift in perspective changes everything. It changes how you interpret setbacks. It changes how you respond to delays. It changes how you hear guidance. It changes how you see yourself. You are not lost. You were never lost. You were in process, and process is not always clear while you are inside it. But now you have stepped back far enough to see the shape of what was happening. Now you can move forward with understanding instead of confusion. Do not carry guilt about what you did not know before this moment. You could not respond to information you did not have, but now you have it. Now you are equipped. Now you are informed. What you do with this understanding is what matters now. Will you allow it to transform how you see yourself and your journey? Or will you file it away as interesting information that changes nothing? The truth has been told. The silence has been broken. The patterns have been revealed. Now it is your turn to respond, not with fear, not with overwhelm, but with trust that what you now understand equips you to move differently than you have before. You are not the same person who started seeking answers. You have already changed through the process of searching. Now let that change show up in how you live. I am with you in this. I have been with you the entire time. I will continue to be with you as you move forward. But I will not move for you. I will not decide for you. I will guide, but you must walk. I will speak, but you must listen. I will reveal, but you must respond. This is not abandonment. This is partnership. This is how real transformation happens, not through passive receiving, but through active participation. Stay close to me now, not out of fear that you will lose your way without me, but out of trust that partnership creates more than independence ever could. You were never meant to figure everything out alone, but you were also never meant to remain passive, waiting for me to do everything while you watch. We move together. You listen. I speak. You act. I guide. You trust. I provide. This is the rhythm we are entering now. This is what it looks like when confusion gives way to clarity, when silence gives way to direction, when misunderstanding gives way to revelation. You are ready for this. You have been made ready through everything you have already walked through. Trust that. Trust yourself. Trust me. And watch how differently the path unfolds when you walk it with understanding instead of confusion. If this message resonated with you, if you felt something shift inside as you listened, then do not keep it to yourself. Comment Amen below to affirm that you received what was meant for you. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe to this channel so you do not miss what comes next, because this conversation is not over. There is more to be revealed, more to be understood, more to be lived. Stay connected, stay present, stay awake to what is unfolding. Your clarity is just beginning.